Tuesday Night Touchdown Podcast with your hosts, Reese Downing and Jacob Workman.
What is up, everyone? Tuesday Night Touchdown Podcast, NCAA edition, week 12 already. As we're quickly approaching the end of this season. Just a couple weeks left in the regular season, actually. Thanksgiving weekend will wrap up the regular season, and the first weekend of December is usually conference championship games. And then now we don't have to wait that long. I think December 20th, I believe it is the first college football playoff game. So approaching some big changes here really soon. Joining as always, co-host Reese Downing. Reese, what's going on?
What's going on, brother? How are you?
I'm all right. Some changes in Tallahassee we'll get to in a little bit, which at least they're showing some signs of life, I guess, after a complete ass destroying of Notre Dame. Just they put the shillelagh as far in as they could. It was a disgrace, but
it was a massive burrito.
Yeah. So last week we talked about how they were going to air the Penn State-Washington game in IMAX screens. So ESPN and TNT have announced that they are going to continue to air all of the college football playoff games in movie theaters. Last year it was on over 400 screens. So I think they are trying to expand it a little bit this year also. I think it's actually a cool concept. It's actually something I've considered checking out if there's like a game worth going to see. Like, I mean, you're not going to have to battle with another game on at the same time. So it's something you could actually go and kind of have an event. I still would like to more go to like a Cosm and see it as opposed to a movie theater. But I think it would still be a cool experience to check out.
I definitely think I think it'd be a cool experience to check out for sure, but especially if it's a night game because it's already going to be dark in there. So it just kind of like adds to the environment. So if we can get like a Penn State, I don't know where, I can't remember what the Penn State Notre Dame.
I think Notre Dame.
Game. Yeah, that'd be a hell of a game to go check out.
Yeah, and and just think of like movie theater quality sound like for a game. Like I don't know, I just think it would be actually a really cool experience. It's actually something I'm thinking about looking into, depending on what the games are and who's showing it where. If it's actually a closed theater, if it's have to drive a little bit, that's obviously a huge factor. But it's actually something. Yeah, it actually really caught my interest. Last week, we also talked about how Nebraska hired Dana Holgorsen to be kind of an offensive analyst, essentially. And then they said that his role would expand as the season went on. Well, they didn't even play a game, and they've already named him OC. So it's kind of an interesting switch. 1 week. He spent the first part of this year with TCU. He's a former coach at Houston and West Virginia, and now immediately becoming the OC. And I know Dylan Raiola has been injured, and he is supposed to be coming back for the game this week. So I'm interested to see what Holgorsen mixed with Raiola does to the offense, because he is a great offensive mind. Like mixed with the defensive ability of Matt Rule, I think that they could be forming quite a little duo there. Like that, I think that could be fun to watch, especially for Raiola in the upcoming years too.
Yeah, this could be a situation a little bit where you see like, from an agency perspective, calling this out just because of the industry that I'm in, but you're working with a client and then an outside agency comes in and says, we can do all this new shit that's going to make your profits go up 30% and all this and that and the other. I think this may be one of those situations where they had the week to be able to sit down and he's like, look, these are all the things that we can implement in this offense to make an immediate impact. But he's a better, more proven offensive mind than the OC that they had. So, I mean, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and this situation is kind of crazy to me. So Kennesaw State fired their head coach, Brian Bohannon. Just for a little backstory for those that, I mean, obviously it was an FCS school, but they turned them into an FCS powerhouse, made the playoffs multiple years. The school then used their success to jump to FBS. This is their first year in the FBS. They've struggled this year, which, I mean, that's normal. It's their first year in FBS. And then they fired him before the first year was even over. And they tried to make him put out a statement basically saying that he resigned to make it look better. And he basically was like, fuck you. I didn't resign. These assholes fired me. And like, to me, this is one of the things wrong with college football. Like, this is just crazy to me. Like, to do all that work to get him to FBS level, make all that money for him, and then not even the first year. that seems like a program that's destined for failure in the upcoming years. I'll definitely be watching to bet against them next year.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. That's a Tepper thing to do.
Definitely. Yeah. Wisconsin staff member Jack Del Rio, former NFL coach, he was arrested Friday for operating while intoxicated after a car he was driving hit a street sign and broke a fence. He showed signs of impairment per Madison police, and no injuries were reported. Coach Luke Fickell did say that he is resigning, and it was a tough situation, decisions that all of us have to be able to take full responsibility for. So that's what Jack will do, and we'll continue to move forward. In other news, Kirby Smart announces the hiring of Jack Del Rio as the leader of culture, probably. That sounds like something that they would do at the University of Georgia. So speaking of firings, Florida State, I talked about this a second ago. Head coach Mike Norvell announced the firing of offensive coordinator Alex Adkins, defensive coordinator Adam Fuller, and wide receiver coach Ron Dugans. He said, unfortunately, we have not upheld the Florida State standard with our results on the field this season. I did not make any of these decisions lightly, but I felt changes needed to be made to elevate our program back to where we all desire it to be. Yes, I definitely don't desire it to be where it's at right now. In a mistake, in my opinion, Norvell said co-defensive coordinator linebackers coach Randy Shannon will take over defensive play calling. And other staff members will help replace the departed assistants. This is about as embarrassing as it gets. The Seminoles rank last among 134 FBS teams in scoring with 13.3 points per game and are 101st in scoring defense, surrendering 29.8 points per game. That's about as big a fall from grace as you could possibly imagine. I do think Randy Shannon should have been fired. I think at the end of the year, he is going to be fired. I think he's just a sitting duck. I don't think he should have got the DC job for the rest of the year. I think it was a really bad choice. I think Surtain should have got the job. But it is what it is. We'll see what happens. I fully anticipate Randy Shannon to be fired at the end of the year also. Just for some offensive coordinator talk, I am really hoping, and I know it's kind of gotten some tread on the internet. The OC that I would really like to see is Brennan Marion, offensive coordinator at UNLV. He played at Tulsa when Norvell was beginning his coaching career there. If you ever look up the go-go offense, that's kind of what he's known for right now. Very high-powered West Coast meets up-tempo offense. He's been very successful rebuilding UNLV the last couple of years. That team was terrible until he got there essentially as the OC. He's kind of top of my list right now for who the real OC should be. And then this one is a little bit more skeptical because I'm not sure he's going to leave him because he's kind of tied to him. But if IU offensive coordinator Mike Shanahan would leave SIG, I think he would be another one that I would be really interested in. But I think Brennan Marion's probably odds-on favorite. But, I mean, I guess you never know in the coaching hiring world. But the money that we should be able to throw at him, I would think would probably be enough to lure him in. Norvell's basically already said he would be willing to give up play-calling duties, which, perfect. We need him to do more of the motivational lead and get the team back together right now, where Marion could come in as OC. DC, I don't really know what to expect yet. I feel like there's going to be a ton of names. Norvell has said that a ton of people have reached out with interest, including some guys in the NFL right now. So, I mean, I don't think it'll be long after the season when we see it announced, because we've got to do something to try to salvage this recruiting class that's just completely falling apart. We had a top 5 class, and they're all pretty much gone at this point. So it's very ugly. But a rebuild's happened before. I mean, he came in and rebuilt and took us to an undefeated season and very quickly. So it's not like it's something out of the realm of possibility. So in the state of Florida, I'll pull up a little graphic here for you. In the state of Florida this weekend, everyone lost. Literally everyone. Florida lost to Texas. Florida State lost to Notre Dame. Miami lost to Georgia Tech. UCF lost to Arizona State. USF lost to Navy. Florida Atlantic lost to East Carolina. Bethune-Cookman lost to Southern University. FAMU lost to Prairie View A&M. And Stetson lost to Marist. In the airport, Florida International, they thankfully didn't play, so they couldn't lose, but they didn't win either. In the NFL, the Jags and the Bucks both lost. So the only saving grace of anyone in Florida was the Dolphins last night beating the Rams. It's pretty improbable. Like that's crazy to think that could even happen. That's a lot of losses for one state.
That's pretty ugly.
So we're going to get to the top 25 results from last week. Maryland had 18, Oregon 39. Purdue with quite the offensive showing, 0, Ohio State 45. Georgia 10, Ole Miss 28. Miami 23, Georgia Tech 28. Florida 17, Texas 49. Washington 6, Penn State 25. Mississippi State 14, Tennessee 33. Michigan 15, IU 20. They took IU to the brink there. We thought we might lose one of the undefeateds there. And also in this next game, we thought we might lose one of the undefeateds. BYU 22, Utah 21. Some people thought it had a controversial ending. To me, that was a clear hold. Like, I think that was the right call. I'm kind of a BYU homer, but I still think that call was justified. Florida State 3, Notre Dame 52. Bama 42, LSU 13. Nevada 21, Boise 28. Iowa State 36, Kansas 45. Kansas looked good. They looked like the Kansas of old in that game. They were putting offense up like crazy. Virginia 24, Pitt 19. Colorado 41, Texas Tech 27. We're going to show one of the plays from this game and just some of the things that I don't understand about the replay system here. We've got a clear as day face mask that ended up not being called so they could call targeting. I'm actually going to let it play through so we can watch it and we'll comment on it as it's done. Give me 1 second.
And if it's just targeting, remember they can remove that flag if it's only targeting. I did not see a face mask signal, though he had the face mask.
Yeah, that was not targeting. That was clearly face mask. Now that...
But is it head or neck area, or did he get him in the shoulder is the question, because he has given himself up. Dean Blandino is with us. Dean, what do you see here? A lot to unpack.
A mess.
Initially, with the flag down, I thought they had the face mask. I do think he got the mask with the left hand. This is what they're calling. You do have a player that is considered defenseless. The contact was not to the head neck area. Again, it's going to come down to the crown. Did he hit him with the top of the helmet? That's what they're looking at here.
So for those that just watched that, there was the most blatant face mask of all time. How it wasn't called, I don't know. I know the score at the end of the game was 41-27. This was a 3-point game when that happened. Texas Tech had the ball going to take the lead. They threw a flag. There was a clear face mask they didn't call. Instead, they called targeting. But when they reviewed the targeting, they took it off. But he clearly hit with the crown of his helmet also. Like his head was straight down, crown of the helmet hit. I just don't know. I don't know if Colorado's going to get the Miami treatment here or what's going on, but something clearly was not right with that. And if we're replaying penalties, like, let's get them right.
Yeah, if they're going to replay penalties, get them right for sure. The face mask, I think, is definitely the most egregious. The targeting penalty, I can argue against that only because he seemed like he was carrying forward momentum when the quarterback was still bent forward. So I don't know if he knew exactly how he was going to run into that quarterback, and he was still trying to fight to stay up. So play through the whistle. I also think that some of the situations with this targeting are tough because your head's attached to your shoulders, and getting your head completely out of the way when you've got a play that's moving that quickly with all these players shuffling around can be difficult. But the face mask should have been called without question. And that's one of the situations, like, if we're going to pause the game to review this shit, then get it right. Like, there shouldn't be anything off the table. If you miss it and you see it in the replay, then call it correctly. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me why they don't reverse those calls or get them right when they miss them.
Right. And they threw the flag for the targeting, and on a quarterback, you don't have to hit him in the head or neck. It's the crown of the helmet. And he clearly hit him still with the crown of the helmet. That's what I don't. So if we're reviewing this, I just feel like they got to get something right there. But
yeah, I do think it should have been
so
a face
bad.
mask, but still, it's shitty. It's officiating. College, NFL, it's a joke.
College, it's almost been worse than ever. Like, it's been so bad. There's in almost every game I watch, there's something that I'm just like, how the hell did they call that? Like, I don't know. They've got to get it figured out, because with an expanded playoff, that's more games on a national stage that are very meaningful. Conference championships are going to be coming up. I don't know. I just think there's a lot of things that need figured out with this.
Well, especially because a lot of these conferences are tight right now. Like, you look at the SEC, like, there's going to be some bullshit that's either going to get called or not going to get called. It's going to result in one of these teams getting into the playoffs and the other team shouldn't with these conference championship games. I hope that doesn't happen, but.
Well, I mean, that game alone, if Texas Tech would have beat Colorado in that game, they would have basically flipped spots. Texas Tech would have been in the playoff and Colorado wouldn't. I mean, that was a huge game. I don't know. You just got to get it figured out. Utah State had 28, Washington State 49, Clemson 24, Virginia Tech 14, Oklahoma 23, Missouri 30, Army 14, North Texas 3. All right, so let's take a look. So the new college football playoff rankings are not out yet. So our ranking that we have is based off the AP poll currently. So first round buys, Oregon is still the number 1 seed. Texas is the 2 seed. BYU is the 3 seed, and Miami is the 4 seed, just by default of winning the ACC. Miami does have a nice little leg up on. I know they lost, but they do hold the tiebreaker against Clemson because they had a common opponent of Louisville, and because of that, Miami has the tiebreak because they do not play. So right now, Miami and SMU would be slated to be the conference championship game. So Clemson's got a little bit of an uphill battle because of that tiebreaker situation. So it'd be interesting.
I'd love to watch SMU just beat the shit out of Miami. That'd be such a fun game to watch.
It would be awesome, and it honestly wouldn't surprise me if it happened either. Miami's very fraudulent. They're not a good team. I mean, it's been proven. They should have lost, 3 games at this point now. So first round games. We'll start with Notre Dame at Tennessee. That would be incredible. That would be a very fun atmosphere. Speaking of like movie theater type things, like that would be one. That'd be 108,000 people with a team that travels well with Notre Dame going on the road to Rocky Top. Like that would be a good one. Number 5, Ohio State would be hosting number 12, Boise State. I'm sure plenty of Ohio State fans would pray to God that that's not there is one playoff game that's a noon game and all the other ones are at night. I have been talking for the last few weeks about how much I hate the big noon kickoff and how it's destroying college football. Ohio State fans and Penn State fans kind of started a little coalition on Twitter this week when they announced that Ohio State IU is going to be the big noon kickoff next week. People are pissed off. Like, they are sick of these noon games. Ohio State fans do not want this. Like, they are very pissed. They're like, give us night games. We have all this cool shit in our stadium for night games. The environment at night games is so much better. And people are really starting to talk about how much the big noon kickoff is ruining college football and the atmospheres. And it's a disgrace. I really hope the networks figure out a way to get this figured out because it's not right. If I was a Big Ten team, I would be so pissed. Like last year, it was Michigan. They got it all season. This year, it's been Ohio State. There's been a few Penn State. I mean, the whiteout game was on fucking Peacock last week, and they didn't even like present it as essentially like a cool atmosphere. They just were like, it was like a normal game. Number 10, Alabama would actually be going on the road to number 7, IU. That would be,
oh my God,
that would be quite the game in Bloomington. That would be awesome.
That's going to be a rough game.
And then number 11, Ole Miss would be on the road at number 6, Penn State. So looking at that, what are your thoughts on the college football playoff as we look at it for week 12?
I liked the matchups last week better than this week. I'm kind of rooting for IU right now, just being from Indiana and seeing what Sig's doing with this team. I know they've got a pretty soft strength of schedule. Drawing Bama as their first round is rough. That's going to be a tough game to win. Milrow's been playing lights out lately. Would love to see Jonty go up against this Ohio State defense. That'd be a lot of fun. Ole Miss Penn State will be a fun one. If I'm the Notre Dame Tennessee game, I don't know. I feel like that'd be pretty low scoring. That's a lot. There's going to be a lot of their defense up against Tennessee's rush offense. Yeah, it's interesting for sure. I mean, you see the 12th seed is not, or excuse me, the 11th seed's not listed here because Georgia's not in the picture right now. So we got number 13 down at 12.
Yeah, I don't think Tennessee is going to be a playoff team. I don't trust them enough. Georgia, I don't know. There's a lot of things that I'm interested in how the next few weeks play out because some of these teams don't deserve to be in, and what also pisses me off is, like, say the Big 12 championship game is Colorado BYU. BYU's undefeated, and say Colorado beats them by 3. BYU better be in the fucking playoff. Like, I feel like that'd be a disgrace. Why should they get punished when a 3-loss SEC team that doesn't go to the conference championship game is going to get put in because they didn't play in the conference championship game? Like, to me, that's a problem. I think that there should now. Miami, on the other hand, is a little different because they do have a loss. So I don't like if SMU were to beat Miami. Yeah, SMU should be in, Miami should be out, and I agree with that. But they're not undefeated right now. BYU's undefeated, and if they were to be 12-1 with their only loss being a 3-point loss in the conference championship, they deserve to be in. Like, I don't know. I'm really interested to see. That's kind of what some of the things that I'm interested to see what comes out in the ranking tonight. Not per se more this top 12, but kind of more of like who's right outside of the top 12, because I think we need to start getting a little bit more of the story told.
Yeah, I mean, when we look at it right now, the teams that they have sitting right outside the top 12, and obviously this is before the stuff comes out tonight, but we've got SMU sitting at 14, Texas A&M's at 15, Army undefeated at 16, Clemson's at 17, Colorado 18, Washington State 19, and then rounding out the top 20 is Kansas State. And then you start seeing a bunch of the 3-loss teams.
Yeah, I just feel, I don't know. Like, I feel like if Georgia has 3 losses, they're still going to put them in. And Georgia's not, Carson Beck has been just
Garbage.
Straight ass. Yeah, he's been terrible.
Was that last three games he's thrown 3 picks?
Yeah, he hasn't
Something
been
like that.
good at all. Yeah. And then there's also the IU and Ohio State play. And if Ohio State beats IU's resume is terrible. So, I mean, if
IU doesn't win out, they're not going to get in. I don't see any way around. They have to win out.
I just feel like an 11-1. I guess it kind of depends what Penn State does also, if Penn State were to lose also. But if they were 11-1 and they don't go to the conference championship, I don't know. To me, if they're going to put 100 SEC teams in, then I think IU should get in. But it also depends how that goes. Say Notre Dame also could be a big caveat in this also. Say Army beats Notre Dame. Does Army then? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like Penn State's final 3 games are Purdue, Minnesota, and Maryland. So
is Minnesota at Minnesota?
Yeah, they're at Minnesota. It's a 3:30 game.
So that's a sneaky game.
IU's got obviously Ohio State coming up on the 23rd, and then they have a game at home against Purdue.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that.
Week, which that obviously they could start their 4-stringers and win that one.
Yeah, they'll kill Purdue.
Georgia has Tennessee this week, and then they're home against fucking UMass, which shouldn't even be allowed. And then
that's
they play Georgia
the SEC
Tech.
Special.
Yeah. Then they've got Georgia Tech at the end.
Where's Georgia Tech at this year? Home or away?
Georgia's home against Georgia Tech.
That was at Georgia Tech.
Tennessee's playing Georgia this weekend in Georgia. They've got UTEP at home, and then they travel to the Pisser as their last game of the season.
Interesting. What's Notre Dame's remaining? Army, USC.
Notre Dame has Virginia this week at home, and then they stay at home to play. Well, no, they play Army, and that's the neutral site game.
Yeah.
Right? And then they travel to USC as their last game of the season.
Lincoln Riley could be.
That could be a sneak issue for them. Lincoln Riley. They've been playing better at home than they have on the road. USC has, so that could be a sneaky game.
Is there a week in between Army and USC?
No. No. Notre Dame plays the last 3 weeks. This Saturday they play Virginia at home, then their neutral site against Army, and then they travel to USC on November 30th.
Honestly, Virginia is no joke either. That'll be interesting. Yeah, they're. I don't know if they're going to win out.
And obviously, we got Ole Miss is on bye this week. They come back next week and travel to the Swamp, and then they return home to play Mississippi State. Those are the last 2 games for Ole Miss.
Yeah, and the Egg Bowl, It doesn't matter what the hell records are. Anyone can always win those games. That's always a tough game. Did you say it's at? Where was it at?
Which game?
The Egg Bowl.
It's at Ole Miss.
Okay.
BYU's final 3 games, they've got they're at home against Kansas. We just talked about how Kansas has looked good the past couple weeks. Then they travel on the road to Dilley to play Arizona State, and then they're back home to play Houston.
Yeah, Houston's kind of been playing better too. At Arizona State is interesting. What is there anything? Is that like a Friday night or anything special about that one? Or
nope, it's a Saturday. They got Saturday games, and then SMU. Just looking at their schedule, they've got Boston College this week at home. Then they're traveling to Virginia. That's a 12 p.m. game. And then the final game of the season for them is home against Cal.
Okay, so that Virginia on the road at Virginia is probably the one we need to watch there.
Yep.
Interesting. Yeah, so, I mean, obviously it's going to play out over the next few weeks, but I don't think we're anywhere near seeing what this final picture is going to look like. I think there's a lot of things that are still going to happen. This college football season's been crazy.
Then look at South Carolina. South Carolina has turned it on the past couple weeks somehow, and if they win out, I don't see how they leave them out because they're playing Missouri this week at home. Next week they've got Wofford, which is a walk game.
Yeah,
but then they're at Clemson. So if they win out, it would be hard pressed to see the Gamecocks not in it.
What would they be? 10-2?
Yes.
What do they have them right now? Like 20?
Let me pull it up. I have them. It's easier to look at my phone. They have them at 23 right now. They're 6-3 actually.
They have 3.
They've got 3 losses.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little tough. Then,
they lost to Bama by 2. Ole Miss beat them by 24 at home, and then they lost to LSU by 3. So 2 of their 3 losses have been close, but I guess.
But every time they've played someone good, they've lost. That's
with the exception of A&M.
A&M, yeah. All right. Well, obviously, every week we'll update this and keep going as to what the playoff picture is going to look like. Next week, I think we might be able to get a live reveal. I believe next week they're back at 7:00 on the reveal. Tonight they are between basketball games, so it's like a 8:30, 9:00 reveal tonight. So it's a little later.
Well, and next week too, when we pull this up, we can put the last 2 games of the season for each one of these teams next to the first round teams, just to kind of take a look at that.
Yeah,
that might make it a little bit easier.
Yeah, for sure, and maybe start getting a look at some conference championship pictures. Just because the SEC is crazy right now. There's like 100 2-loss teams, and I don't even know what the hell the tie break is so confusing that I don't even know how to figure it out. So hopefully it just plays out and it makes sense because it's very impossible to figure out right now. All right, so we will move on to the Week 12 picks. So kicking it off, number 2 Ohio State is 28.5-point favorite going on the road to Northwestern at Wrigley Field in Chicago, Illinois. 44.5 over under Saturday at noon on the Big Ten Network.
Yeah, it's a cool game to watch at Wrigley. Unfortunately, not for Chicago fans of Northwestern, though. Ohio State's obviously got a big game next week against IU. They should use this as a tune-up game, so I'm going to take OH here, minus the points to win and cover.
Yeah, I think you got to go Ohio State in this one. Northwestern hasn't done anything all year, so I'm on Ohio State in this one also. Number 3, Texas is a 13.5-point favorite going on the road to Arkansas at Razorback Stadium in Fayetteville, Arkansas. 57.5 over under Saturday at noon on ABC.
Yeah, Arkansas hasn't performed well as the underdog at home this year, and they've struggled against bigger teams like LSU and Ole Miss. Texas is also one of the better defenses in the country, so I'm going to go Texas here to win and cover.
Yeah, this line's surprising to me. I feel like it should be a little higher, maybe like a 16.5. I like Texas in this one also. Number 17, Clemson is a 10-point favorite going on the road to Pitt, Acrisure Stadium, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. 54.5 over under Saturday at noon on ESPN.
Yeah, Panthers have lost 2 of their last 3. They've seemingly lost their offense in the midst of it. Their saving grace may be Klubnik, who's been pretty inaccurate as of late. Pitt also won this last time it was in Pittsburgh. I don't know if they're going to get the W here, but I'm going to take Pitt Panthers here to keep it close enough.
Yeah, Pitt coming off of a loss to Virginia. It was kind of a surprising loss. I believe Eli Holstein's still not going to be playing. I just think Clemson has that rally in them right now. Maybe some outside hope, but still making the conference championship. So I'm going to take Clemson minus the 10 here. Utah is going on the road to number 18, Colorado. Colorado is a 10-point favorite at Folsom Field in Boulder. 47.5 over under Saturday at noon on Fox. 10 a.m. local kick for this one. Thank you, Fox, for the big noon kickoff.
Yeah, that's amazing. Colorado's kept the train going here, they're going to need to if they want to sneak into the college football playoff. Utah defense against this Colorado offense should be pretty entertaining. The problem for the Utes is that they're not scoring points. -10. I think Colorado knows that they're playing for a playoff berth. Utah's kind of out of it right now, so I'm going to go with Colorado.
Yeah, this one's tough because it's kind of like a how does Utah react? Like,
yeah,
they feel that they just got screwed. Their AD came out and said they got screwed.
Which
it's kind of like I don't know. I feel like maybe they come out and it was just a huge rivalry game. It was on their home field. I just feel like maybe I don't know. I feel like maybe they're kind of back to playing football. Like, I'm going to take Utah. I don't think they're going to win the game, but 10 kind of seems like a lot in this game to me. I'm going to take Utah. Number 25, Tulane is a 7-point favorite going on the road to Navy at Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium in Annapolis, Maryland. 53.5 over under Saturday at noon on ESPN2.
Tulane's been racking up points this year. They're sitting in the top 5 in points per game at 41, and Navy's obviously been struggling the past couple weeks. So I'm going to take the Green Wave here to win and cover.
Yeah, I'm on Tulane also. Navy's definitely had a bad little stretch, so I do like Tulane and what they've got going on. I'm going to take them -7. We have no line on the next game. Mercer, this is the SEC special. Mercer's going on the road to number 9, Alabama. There's no line out yet. It is Saturday at 2 o'clock on ESPN Plus at Bryant-Denny Stadium. That
Bama
will be picked later in the week if
I'll pick it now, Bama.
If there is a line. Yeah, you would have to think as long as the line is under probably 50 that we're probably taking Bama.
Yeah.
Number 4, Penn State is a 28.5-point favorite going on the road to Purdue at Ross-Ade Stadium, West Lafayette, Indiana. 50.5 over under Saturday at 3:30 on CBS.
Poor Purdue, man. Brutal schedule. This team can't find the end zone for the life of them against these better Big Ten squads. Nittany Lions have only scored more than 35 once this season, but that was against the assiest of ass. Boilers aren't far off from that, though, so I'm going to take Penn State here to win and cover.
Yeah, this one's tough. You would think Purdue, maybe could get 7. I feel like
thought that last week.
I know. I feel like if they could get 7, that they might be able to cover this. So let's Boiler up. I'm taking Purdue. Christ.
Look at that over under.
Yeah, 50.5. I know. It's insane. Virginia is going on the road to number 8, Notre Dame. Notre Dame is a 23-point favorite at Notre Dame Stadium in Notre Dame / South Bend, Indiana. 50.5 over under Saturday at 3:30 on NBC.
Appreciate the slash there. Irish have been rocking and rolling lately. Their defense is a turnover machine. Virginia just broke that losing streak last week against Pitt, but unfortunately for them, I think this is going to be the start of a new one. I'm going to take the Irish to win and cover.
I don't know how they're going to react to playing a team that plays football. Like, they just played Florida State, so that was kind of like playing a remedial team. I'm going to take Virginia to cover this. I think this is too many points. I think Notre Dame wins. I think it could see a 17 to 20 point win. 23 is kind of a lot in this one to me, so I'm going to take Virginia. Boston College going on the road to number 14, SMU. SMU is a 17-point favorite at Gerald J. Ford Stadium in Dallas, Texas. 53.5 over under Saturday at 3:30 on ESPN.
Yeah, Pony Team, another one's been rolling as of late. Rematch of the Fenway Bowl from last year when BC won, so SMU should have a little extra juice to get some revenge. These are the same 2 quarterbacks. I'm going to go with SMU here to win and cover.
Yeah, I'm on SMU also. Boston College seems to have a little bit of an issue going on. Thomas Castellanos, he was benched, and I know that he did take a few days away as personal reasons. So I'm not too sure what's going on quarterback situation wise there, but it doesn't seem good. They're on the road. SMU's good. I'm taking SMU. Number 21, LSU is a 4.5-point favorite going on the road to Florida, Ben Hill Griffin Stadium in Gainesville, Florida. 54.5 over under Saturday at 3:30 on ABC.
I hate picking these Gator games until we know who's under center, and we still don't know if Lagway is going to be back or not. I'm going to assume he's not. If he plays, I may flip here, but I'm going to go LSU to win and cover.
You would, to me, line-wise, says he's playing, but I don't see how he plays. So I'm taking LSU also. I think LSU is going to kill him. Number 22, Louisville is a 20-point favorite going on the road to Stanford Stadium, Stanford, California. 58.5 over-under Saturday at 3:30 on the ACC network.
Yeah, both the teams are coming off a bye for the fake Cardinal Bowl. We know there's only one true Cardinal team. Stanford trying to break their 6-game losing streak, but I don't think it's going to happen here despite the home game. I'm going to go with Louisville here, win and cover.
Well, it's a little different because one's a tree, the other is the bird. But I understand what you're saying.
Still the Cardinal.
Yeah. I don't think Stanford can keep this that tight. I'm going to take Louisville minus 20. Number 24, Missouri going on the road to number 23, South Carolina. South Carolina is a 12-point favorite at Williams-Brice Stadium. Columbia, South Carolina, 44.5 over-under Saturday at 4:15 on the SEC network.
Yeah, Gamecocks are rolling here. 3-game winning streak. They're only allowing 12 a game in that span. Brady Cook was out last week, so that puts a question mark on this if it's him or Pine. I think the Gamecocks are going to get the W here, but the spread's a little rich for this being an SEC matchup, so I'm going to go Tigers plus the points.
Yeah, I wish I knew who was playing quarterback because I don't think Pine's very good. I think that kind of goes a long way in this game. I'm going to take Missouri, hoping that Cook is back. Obviously, we won't know, but I'm going to take Missouri plus the 12. Number 13, Boise State is a 13.5-point favorite going on the road to San Jose State at CEFCU Stadium in San Jose, California. 61.5 over-under Saturday at 7 on CBS Sports Network.
What's CEFCU stand for?
We're going to go with the California Educators and Family Credit Union.
All right, love it. San Jose State's actually looked pretty decent this year, especially at home. Last 4 games between these two schools have been decided by less than 14, so I do think Boise State's going to get the W, but I'm going to take San Jose State plus the 13.5 at home.
Yeah, obviously they think this is going to be a high-scoring game. Boise's been in some battles actually lately. Games have been a lot closer really than they should have been. 13. Man, 7 o'clock. So that's a 4 o'clock local. I'm gonna take Boise in this one. I think that crowd's not going to really exist in this one, and I think Boise's going to be able to handle that. Arizona State is going on the road to number 20, Kansas State. Kansas State's a 9-point favorite at Bill Snyder Family Stadium in Manhattan, Kansas. Little Apple, 50.5 over-under Saturday at 7 on ESPN.
Yeah, challenge with this one is whether Scatabo is going to play. If he's out, it's going to be a tough W for the Sun Devils. I'm going to take K-State here to win and cover.
Are you willing to say that if they lose, you will shove a beefy 5-layer burrito up your ass?
No, I am not.
That's unfortunate. I'm not picking against my guy Dilly. I've said all year that I'm not that big on Kansas State. I just feel like they're going to lose one of these. And Arizona State's trying to keep the season alive a little bit. Obviously, they're out of conference championship contention unless some real crazy things happen. But I still like their situation. And I do think that they're just as good as Kansas State. So I will take Arizona State in this one. Number 1, Oregon is a 14.5-point favorite going on the road to Wisconsin, Camp Randall Stadium in Madison, Wisconsin. 52.5 over-under Saturday at 7:30 on NBC.
Yeah, night game in Camp Randall gives this one a little extra juice here. But Dylan Gabriel's looked great this year, and he's particularly deadly on the road. So I'm going to take the Ducks here to win and cover in a hostile environment.
Yeah, I'm on Oregon also. I don't think this is enough. I would say if it was more like 18.5, that's probably where I feel like it should be. I like Oregon to cover the 14.5. Number 6, Tennessee is going on the road to number 11, Georgia. Georgia's a 10-point favorite at Sanford Stadium in Athens, Georgia. 48.5 over under Saturday at 7:30 on ABC.
Yeah, game of the week here. Can Georgia avoid a 3-loss season? And I think that depends on which team we get. They've had 3 turnovers in each of their last 3. They're not going to be able to do that against this Volunteer team. They've not given up more than 19 all season. Georgia's not lost 3 conference games since 2016 during Kirby Smart's first year, so something to look out for there. But they lost a total of 5 games that season. I don't think they're going to lose 5, but I think this may be their 3rd. So let's go Rocky Top here plus the points.
Yeah, I've kind of said all along that Tennessee kind of struggles when they play teams that have good offenses. Well, Georgia's offense isn't good. Obviously, we have the question if Nico Iamaleava is going to play. He was injured last week. They are saying he's trending to play. As long as Nico plays, I'm taking Tennessee plus the 10. New Mexico State is going on the road to number 15, Texas A&M. Texas A&M is a 39-point favorite at Kyle Field in College Station. 54.5 over-under Saturday at 7:45 on the SEC Network.
Yeah, I know New Mexico State's 2-7. They're allowing a ton on the ground, but Le'Veon Moss is out for the season, and A&M is 0-3 against the spread when they're favored by 20 or more. This one's double that. They could come out and make this a statement win. I just don't like the spread, so I'm going to take New Mexico State here plus the points.
Yeah, New Mexico State is not good. They lost. The pisser left there, obviously. The whole coaching staff left. Half the team left. I just don't like New Mexico State at all. I think they lost everything from last year. So going into an environment like this, I'm not sure they're going to be able to handle this. This could easily still be coverable because it's such a huge spread, but 39 is not quite enough for me. I could see this being like a 52-3 game. So I'll take Texas A&M here. Number 19, Washington State is a 12.5-point favorite going on the road to New Mexico at University Stadium in Albuquerque, New Mexico. 72.5 over/under Saturday at 9:30 on the one for fun. This one's definitely going to be one for fun.
I was going to say the one for fun. This is a perfect network for it. This is going to turn into a shootout. I understand why this is 72.5. New Mexico's been playing games close. They haven't lost by more than 11 in the last 4. If Mendenhall has a great game, they can keep this within 13. So I'm going to take the Lobos and plus the points here.
Yeah, and such a high-scoring game. I feel like the spread's a little much. I'm going to take New Mexico also just because, I mean, at 72.5 over-under, getting 12.5 is quite a bit. This game is one I'm very much looking forward to. The late night, Kansas going on the road to number 7 BYU. BYU is a 3-point favorite at LaVell Edwards Stadium in Provo, Utah. 55.5 over-under Saturday at 10:15 on ESPN.
Yeah, this one's a little tough to pick just because Kansas hasn't looked bad these past couple weeks. They have been protecting the ball, which is going to potentially create some challenges for BYU because they feast on turnovers. But they do have the edge with this being in Provo. So let's go Cougs to win and cover.
Yeah, I'm just a little concerned of a letdown spot. They're coming back home after the Holy War. Didn't really perform well in the Holy War at all, but they did sneak out a win. You just have to hope this isn't a letdown spot and then keep the season going a little bit. But Kansas last week against Iowa State was unbelievable. Jalen Daniels, he was back to life. He had a hell of a fucking game. I think this is going to be a fun one. The 55.5 to me seems low. I think we're flying over that. I think this is an over game. But I am on the BYU and the Mormons. I'll take BYU -3. All right, that was it for the top 25. Rolling into the Muncie 6-pack. We got 2 games going tonight. One of them is very huge in the MAC, which will be the second one. Kicking off the first one, though, Ball State is going on the road to face their former head coach, Pete Limbo, in Buffalo. Buffalo's a 3.5-point favorite at UB Stadium in Buffalo, New York. 55.5 over-under Tuesday at 7 in about 5 minutes on the CBS Sports Network.
Yeah, their record may not show it, but Ball State's been playing competitive football since that JMU loss. Buffalo, on the other hand, has been really up and down this season. They're a little unpredictable. I know it's a shocker, but I'm going to go with my cards here.
Yeah, I'm going to take Limbo getting some revenge on the old school. I'm thinking Buffalo -3.5. This next one actually has some implications for conference championship purposes. Western Michigan going on the road to Bowling Green. Bowling Green is a 10-point favorite at Dwight L. Perry Stadium in Bowling Green, Ohio. 57.5 over-under Tuesday at 7 on ESPN2.
Yeah, you just mentioned a big conference matchup here with both teams sitting at 4-1, 5 in the conference, 5-4 overall. I think this is going to be a competitive game. Pushes me to take the points here, so I'm going to go with Western Michigan.
I'm going to actually flip. I'm going to go Bowling Green -10 on this one. See what who gets the upper hand going towards the conference championship at Ford Field there. Wyoming is going on the road to face Colorado State. Colorado State is a 10.5-point favorite at Canvas Stadium in Fort Collins, Colorado. 47.5 over-under Friday night at 8 o'clock on the CBS Sports Network.
Yeah, Colorado State's been looking really good lately. They've won their last 4, and if not for an overtime loss in Beaverton, they would have won 6 straight. I like how the Rams are looking, so let's go Colorado State here to win and cover.
Yeah, Wyoming isn't quite the same that they've been the last few years, and they've always been a team on the road that's a much different team than at home. I like Colorado State in this one also, -10.5. La Tech, Louisiana Tech going on the road to the Tau team, Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky is a 14-point favorite at Hutchins Industries LT Smith Stadium in Bowling Green, Kentucky. 52.5 over-under Saturday at noon on the CBS Sports Network. It's a popular network tonight.
Yeah, no kidding. We need to work on trying to get the naming rights for the stadium because Jesus.
Yeah, no kidding.
I think Louisiana Tech's going to struggle to slow down the Hilltoppers' passing attack, so let's go Tau team here to win and cover.
Yeah, to me, this is an over-under that's surprising to me too. Like when I look at over-unders, to me, this is a game that's in the 60s easily. Like I don't understand this one. I mean, unless there's an injury I don't know about, that over-under is crazy to me. I think we're flying over on that one, but I do like Western Kentucky also minus the 14. Nebraska going on the road to USC. USC is a 9.5-point favorite at Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, Los Angeles, California. 50.5 over-under Saturday at 4 on Fox.
And Nebraska's looking to avoid 4 straight losses. Trojans are returning home, looking to bounce back after that loss to Washington. USC's looked good at home this year, and I think Raiola's a question mark right now, right?
Yes.
We don't know if he's going to play or not. So I'm going to
trending to play.
Trending to play. All right. Well,
Yeah.
I don't trust that.
I don't either.
USC at home. I'm going to take the Trojans here to win and cover this one.
Yeah. This is a tough one for me. USC is switching quarterbacks too. God, I'm going to have to think. Miller Moss is getting benched, and they're playing, I believe it's Jordan Mayava, I believe is the one that's getting the start. I believe it's Jordan Mayava. It is going to be his first start, and I don't know. It's just so hard to trust this team right now. Like, these are two teams that have a lot of question marks. Last time we saw Nebraska, they look like just straight ass. So I guess I'll go with the home team here. I'm going to go USC minus 9.5. I'm not going to bet this game. I don't like this game at all. Baylor is a 2.5-point favorite going on the road to West Virginia at Milan Pusker Stadium in Morgantown, West Virginia. 58.5 over-under Saturday at 4 on ESPN2.
Baylor's got almost 500 yards last week against TCU. They're on a 3-game streak. Mountaineers have won their last 2, and they may have Garrett Green. Although if I'm Neil Brown, I don't know if I'm making that change if he's ready, because Nico's looked decent in substitution. Either way, I think this Baylor offense is just going to be a little too tough to slow down. The environment, if it were a night game, would be a little bit different. I'm going to go Baylor here to win and cover.
Yeah, I'm taking West Virginia. I like them on their home field. I still think Baylor is a little fluky, and West Virginia is kind of turning around a little bit. Obviously with the quarterback change, like you just said, West Virginia does still have an outside shot at conference championship, depending on how some tiebreakers go. So it is something to watch out for. I do like West Virginia at home, though. If they were to lose this one, Neil Brown, I mean, he's kind of on the hot seat anyway, but it might really.
Yeah, he was one of those guys we were talking about
flames
on the hot seat at the beginning of the year. So
well, both of these coaches are really. That's Dave Aranda too. So there's a lot of interest in that one. Closing out the 6-pack, Cincinnati's going on the road to Iowa State. Iowa State is a 9-point favorite at Jack Trice Stadium in Ames, Iowa. 53.5 over/under Saturday at 8 o'clock on Fox.
Yeah, I know the Cyclones have been skidding a little bit these past few weeks. They've lost the last 2. It came within 3 points of losing to UCF, but this is a night game at Jack Trice. Good spot for them to get a little bit of a statement win. So I'm going to go Cyclones here to win and cover.
Yeah, I mean, they looked terrible last week against Kansas, but you would have to think on the home field, night game, maybe bring it back a little bit. So I'm on Iowa State minus the 9 also. So that wraps up the Week 12 picks. It is now time for the locks of the week. Reese, what is your lock?
I am going SMU over Boston College. I think the Pony team is just going to be too much for this offense. Too much offense for BC to slow down. So let's go Stangs.
My lock is BYU minus 3 over Kansas. Like I said, it does concern me a little bit because it's kind of a letdown spot returning home after a huge rivalry game. But they still have a lot to play for. There's obviously conference championship material right now. They do have one of the top 4 buys in the playoff right now also, which is huge. So if they can keep it up, obviously, I mean, it's kind of a dream season going on there right now. Late night, home crowd. The sodas will be flying wild. I like BYU at home in that one. Dog of the week.
Play it. Rocky Top over the Dog Pound here. Now this is just confusing because we got dogs barking and Rocky Top chants and shit.
Right.
I am going Rocky Top over Dog Pound. Shout out to my buddy Ryan. Georgia's has all the pressure in the world on them right now. They've played maybe 1 to 2 complete games all season. Iamaliava in this Vols running game takes advantage of the pressure. I think they're going to get a big win in Athens. So let's go Rocky Top.
My dog of the week, we kind of just talked about a second ago. We will be taking West Virginia plus 114 at home against Baylor.
Take me home to the place I belong.
Reese is on Tennessee. I'm on West Virginia for the dogs of the week, and that wraps up the week 12 picks. We've got to go tune into a Ball State game, so we will be back next week. For Reese Downing, I'm Jacob Workman. Check out the NFL editions, like, share, subscribe, and we will see you guys soon. Goodbye, everyone.
Sure.